Hi, it's Michael Caputo. Thanks for stopping by Still Standing. You can check out my podcast, my videos, my blog posts at stillstandingpodcast.com. I'm down in Miami Beach, actually packing my bags, getting ready to go from 82-degree weather for 2 weeks, working on my book here, back to Buffalo to my wife and daughters, where it's 22 degrees. I don't like that kind of weather, but I look forward to seeing my girls. It's been too long without them. Pretty good couple of weeks of work, though. Pretty productive. Although it's also been pretty productive for the Mueller investigation. Of course, we had the filings on General Flynn, his sentencing filings. We also had filings on Michael Cohen and his sentencing, and Paul Manafort. You know, he had his whole cooperation agreement blow up. And I've been watching CNN. Love CNN. I'm on CNN quite a bit. I love Chris Cuomo, Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper. Shout out to all three of you guys. They're always fair to me, but boy, oh boy, the coverage has been breathless of these filings, especially in the Cohen case. All day today, Saturday, on the bottom part of the screen, they've got president implicated in 2 crimes. Of course, that's not news. We know that Michael Cohen pled guilty to 2 crimes, campaign finance violations. And I guess it's good for ratings or whatever. But, you know, the contributors, also people I respect a lot on the Democrat side, kind of breathlessly reporting that the president, you know, they're circling like jaws around and around the president. And soon there'll be more and more indications of Russian collusion. In fact, there is no Russian collusion. These filings don't even touch the president. I think, in fact, it was a pretty good day for the president. He tweeted, that he's cleared. Thanks. The people on CNN are, rolling their eyes at that. I don't know that he was cleared, but he certainly wasn't. There's no news there about the president. But let's look at a couple of things. My friends on the right, who, supporters of Trump, conservatives who were tired of seeing these investigations, tired of seeing Hillary and Bill Clinton get away with all they get away with, are asking over and over again, why doesn't the president order an investigation of Hillary Clinton? Why doesn't he order an investigation of Spygate? Very clear indications that I believe in, that the Barack Obama White House, President Obama's White House, was using the national security apparatus to spy on the Republican candidate for President Donald Trump. The Crossfire Hurricane and the subsequent investigation, special counsel investigation that came out of it. Well, first of all, the President of the United States doesn't and shouldn't do that. I mean, the President actually is, when it comes to the Department of Justice, it's not like he can use it as his own prosecution arm to go after his political enemies. He's supposed to, it's a special relationship for a cabinet member, the Attorney General. It has some level of independence from the President. The President shouldn't be ordering investigations. He does, however, set a 30,000-foot level of policy. He kind of decides what kind of, justice system we're going to have. What, for example, are we going to start spending more time, prosecuting foreign actors on American soil? Are we going to be looking at RICO statutes and organized crime, things that have happened at the behest of presidents in the past? But Donald Trump should not be ordering investigations and prosecutions. That'll damage his reputation. It'll damage the Republican Party. To go after political opponents with the levers of power that you hold, just like Barack Obama did by pursuing, investigating, spying on the Republican candidate for president. However, we do see, unusually, Director Mueller setting policy. Very interesting stuff. For example, if you look at Flynn, when I say policy, and kind of going after the 30,000-foot level stuff that the president should be doing. If you look at General Flynn, the whole investigation of General Flynn seems to be predicated on the fact that he violated the Logan Act. An act, I'm not an attorney. I work with a lot of attorneys. My PR firm does litigation communications. I've got a lot of attorneys working for me because I'm caught up in this Russia collusion delusion. But the Logan Act is designed to prosecute people who operate independently, to try to undermine the policy of the government of the United States among foreign actors. They went after General Flynn when, as the incoming NSC director, during the transition, he had a conversation with Ambassador Kislyak on the telephone about sanctions, something that's absolutely and completely within his purview as a member of the transition. The Logan Act wouldn't even apply if it had any kind of credibility at all. Nobody's ever, as far as I know, ever used the Logan Act to prosecute someone successfully. But the reason we know that Michael Flynn had a conversation with Kislyak is because somebody in the Barack Obama administration leaked the conversation that he had with Kislyak that was picked up on signals intelligence. Of course, every ambassador is their phone calls are listened to, especially ambassadors to nations that are sometimes belligerent to the United States, like Russia. Someone in the Barack Obama White House or in the security apparatus leaked that information to the Washington Post. Sally Yates, if you remember, was talking about how General Flynn had violated the Logan Act. Crap, absolutely. But see, the FBI came in to interview General Flynn in the White House. He was talking to a lot of FBI agents as all of his people were getting classified clearances, going through all these investigations, trying to get his people cleared for security data and being able to read reports, get the proper clearances necessary. They came into his office, including Peter Strzok, who is now, of course, disgraced and fired for his activities, partisan and inappropriate activities as a member of the FBI leadership team. They came in, interviewed him, and in that interview, he wasn't completely forthcoming about his conversation with Kislyak as a member of the transition team. Initially, the FBI agents who were in that interview said that he didn't lie, but later on, as they were trying to, hang him up and trying to indict him, Sally Yates was out there talking to the media about how he might have violated the Logan Act, as ridiculous as it is. They changed their mind. They said he wasn't completely forthcoming and truthful. Had to resign, and of course was indicted and pled guilty. Never should have pled guilty. Absolutely not. But I think Andrew McCarthy on the National Review podcast, great podcast with McCarthy every week, talked about also FARA, how some of these things against General Flynn seem to be a failure to register for FARA. And we look, not him in particular, but people around him. But also Paul Manafort didn't register for Ukraine under FARA. Mercury Public Affairs, the Republican firm, didn't register for FARA. The Podesta Group didn't register for FARA, all three working for Ukraine. Now, FARA has always been something, was kind of a fence post that if you passed it and the FBI or the DOJ said, look, you're not registered properly, you need to get right with the state, you needed to register. Nobody's really been prosecuted much under FARA, certainly not with the alacrity that has been pursued by the Mueller investigation. So now we're going after Logan Act violations. We're going after FARA violations as criminal investigations to put people behind bars. Think about that. This is policy level stuff being set by a line prosecutor, Director Mueller. And again, look at the two crimes that are apparently being accused against the president on the bottom part of the screen on CNN all day. The president implicated in two crimes. Both of these are campaign finance violations related to Stormy Daniels' payments and this other McDougal playmate organized by Michael Cohen. First of all, Cohen, not a credible witness anymore, lied to the prosecutors, lied to investigators. The Mueller team thinks he did well and they want him to have a light sentence, but the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York wants the judge to throw the book at him because he's lied to them. Not a credible witness. That's why they're sentencing him now. Once you're sentencing these people, that means they've come to the end of their usefulness, kind of used up when it comes to the Mueller investigation or other prosecutions. So they're accusing the president of crimes, campaign finance violations. Of course, this same violation was used by the Department of Justice to try to prosecute former senator and former vice president candidate John Edwards of North Carolina, who was apparently, through friends, paying his mistress to be quiet while he was running for vice president. That prosecution ended up in a mistrial. The Department of Justice was completely embarrassed, and they decided to abandon it completely. So this Edwards gambit that the Department of Justice was completely embarrassed about not long ago is now at the bottom of the screen on CNN. And somehow they're going to try and use the Edwards gambit to get the President of the United States. I don't know how they're going to do that. So now the Edwards gambit is now kind of high-level policy. Now we're going to be going after campaign finance violations that you couldn't hang up a former vice presidential candidate on, and they ran away from it. It's outrageous, if you ask me. Somehow Mueller is trying to, I think, trying to prove that it was necessary to have a special counsel, that Crossfire Hurricane was necessary, putting out these weak arguments for Logan Act and FARA violations, and of course the Southern District of New York with their campaign finance violations. None of this is going to amount to a hill of beans. Nobody's ever going to be prosecuted under the Logan Act. FARA, maybe that'll get tightened up, but I can't imagine that's going to be a regular felony conviction of lobbyists in Washington. It's not going to happen. But what will happen is this will fuel an impeachment proceeding in the House of Representatives, partisan harassment of the President of the United States. So that's where we're at. I think we're just about to the close of the Mueller investigation. They still have Roger Stone out there. I think they're still going to pursue Roger. I'll have more on that, I'm sure, as that unfolds. But this is where we're at now. And I'm sorry to my friends at CNN. This is not news. In fact, it looks like Cohen turned out to be a flop as a cooperator, and prosecutors had a lot of criticisms of him and his efforts to try and monetize his relationship with the president. It was actually, on Friday, some pretty good news for the White House. Instead of like this widely predicted Black Friday activity, those developments in the Mueller case kind of proved no harmful news at all to the President of the United States. That's why he said, cleared, thank you. Rather than two-star witnesses, Manafort and Cohen, and of course now General Flynn, these two have, especially Cohen and Manafort, have turned out to be pretty disappointing cooperations. And that's bad news for the Mueller investigation. I don't care how you slice it. Thanks again for listening in. I'm Michael Caputo for Still Standing. You can catch me at stillstandingpodcast.com. Catch me again next week.